Welcome to Protect Painting. We're going to be doing a video today, start to finish, of repainting one of X-Wing's Rebel dial covers. We've had quite a few people asking us questions, and I've been trying to help people out over the last couple of weeks on how to prepare them and how to paint them, and rather than explain over messaging and stuff like that, I thought the best way would be just to grab one and do a quick paint job today, and then I could link the video back to them at any point. So I'll get one of these open. Just the bits that we need. I'm just going to do one for today. Standard Rebel dial and the insert part. So the first part, excuse me because I've got a cold today as well. When painting straight onto this, it's pretty smooth and the paint doesn't generally stick to it very well. Even the primers and stuff like that can flake off really easily. So we get one of these sander blocks. Pound shop has 10 for £1 and stuff like that, or automotive shops 120 grit, and all you're doing is keying any of the big flat surfaces up to make sure the paint sticks. Gently on the face, just a little bit of a key, and then on the back edge where you'll be dropping it down a lot, so that's one of the main areas where the paint's going to peel away from. So that's that. And that's that. After you've done that, there's going to be dust all over it, so a quick clean. I use IPA. At this point, I'm going to put on a pair of rubber gloves. And as I said, give them a good clean. Get any of the original release agent off and any fingerprints that you may have left on them. Right, and that dries pretty quickly. The next part I'm going to do with an airbrush, but you can get away using any of the spray cans, GW spray and stuff like that, because we're going to be doing bright oranges and reds on the dial. I'm going to go with a white primer. Now this is Styrene Eyes by Badger. I've only just started using these, and they're really good. They really do stick to the surface, and they go through the airbrushes really well. But as I say, the white spray from GW is just as good. Take it outside, give it a quick blast over. So I'll grab an airbrush. So a couple of drops, and I usually start with the back. I apologise if the compressor is quite noisy. So a couple of light coats. And using the air to dry it as you do it. That's inside there. Go over to the insert. I'm just going to try and get the back of the insert. I'm not too bothered about the sides, so I'll do the other side. So like that. Blow that over the air. So now what I would normally do is, as I've done with these, is take one of the old GW pots, making sure that side's dry, place it in the blue tack onto a pot so you don't have to handle it while you're finishing off the spray. Again, can always do a second coat if needed. So that gets the basic coat down. That's that. And then the same again for the insert. A bit of blue tack. Now, I would now normally leave these overnight for that to set and to really harden. So I've got a couple that I did last night in preparation for this. So stick them to that, and the other one. So we have two ready to go. Just quickly give this a clean out. Right, and the rest will be done with normal brushes. So there we go. The colours that we're going for are the orange and the silver that we've done quite a few of for a couple of customers over the last 6 months. My go-to orange is the foundation, Mechanicus Solar Orange. Really good coverage, and it works really well on most things really. It covers really well. It's just a shame you can't get hold of it and you've got to scour the internet to find it. The Rebel symbol will be done in Evil Sun Scarlet, and how do Lebo. And then for the silver, I was going to try one of our new colours. A lot of people keep recommending, and it is Scale Colours Thrash Metal. Give that one a go with that. So once we've got the primer nice and dry, and stick it onto that, I usually start with these sections and go with the silver, so I'll start with that. A bit of water on my brush just to thin it down so it's easily usable. So a couple of quick coats in there. I should really have my glasses on for this. A little bit too thick. While you're doing this bit as neatly as you can. So just filling in the little quarter sections. Again, the paint goes on really easy because you've got the white primer down. It's not running off, it's not pooling or anything like that. Just gives you the ability for it to stick where you put it. But it also allows you to have it a lot thinner. I hope everyone can see this because it's not easy working. You watch all these videos of people saying it's not easy to work under a camera, and until you do it yourself, you don't appreciate how different it is to actually do it under a camera. There we go. So by the time you've done the third one, the first one's finished, so you can just quickly go and touch up any thin patches. You don't have to do the whole thing again because some of the wash will hide any of that. Just pick up any other bits. There you go, the 4/4 are done. So now we go for the orange. Using the foundation. That's pretty thin straight out of the pot. And just carefully go following the edge. If you use the edge of the brush, it makes it a lot simpler to get the raised part. This paint sticks really well to the primer. It doesn't have to be the foundation paints. Any of the standard basing paints from GW for the orange, I think it's Jack Raw, or even the Avalanche Sunset, and then go with the Troll Slayer over the top of that, and that makes it really bright. I prefer a bit of a darker orange. It goes a lot darker when you do a wash as well, but then after the highlight, it brings it back a lot. Again, as neat as possible. And this is a really quick basic paint job. A set of 3 shouldn't take you no more than a couple of hours. The 4 bits like that. Well, I'm saying a couple of hours, probably a lot quicker. By the time you get used to painting, with the base coat, thinning it down a little bit. Just helps it flow around the edge, and you're not having to do multiple passes over each little bit just to get it to cover. And then I'll do the window. Inside as well. Again, it's more just a quick run through to show a couple of lads how I've been doing it, so they can copy and probably then go on to produce a lot better work than we do. It's usually the case. So what I think to do is on the back is just fill this box. Just to neaten it up a bit. So that's the orange and the silver. The base is done. The base coats. So now for the red. I'm going to go with the base of Mephiston red. Again, a GW. This is just for the rebel symbol. So this is quite a dark red to start with. Obviously we're going to highlight it up after we've done the washes. Again, this stage is just like painting by numbers. You get the right colours in the right places. I'm sure someone else keeps saying it's like painting by numbers. I think he has a Patreon account and he mentions it now and again. So the base colour's done. I'll leave that for a second to dry. And I'll go over to the dial inside. So again with the red. Doesn't matter which order you do them in. I'd forgot this bit. just for a bit of difference on it. I'm going to do this line here in the orange. On both sides. So, clean the brush off and put that to one side. So the next stage we'll do is the washes. What I'm going to go for is have some Nuln Oil. This is already mixed 50-50 with Lamium Medium, just to thin it down a bit so it's not as strong and it doesn't tend to coat everything as much. So, taking a small amount, I'm going to do the silvers in Nuln Oil. A bit of wash down. Sometimes when you do it, it looks as though you put way too much wash down, but it'll flow to the edges and make its own level sort of thing. So it picks out all of the definition of the metal work. And that's the only bit that we do with the Nuln. The next is exactly the same agrax. We've also pre-diluted or pre-mixed this, so it's 50-50 Lamium, and this then tends to go over a lot more to get the browny white rather than just the plain white, but then it all fills in the gaps. This stage it does give it just a, as it says, a wash. Do the orange on the edge. You're not far off just hitting everything that hasn't had the black on. You can pin wash it, which means takes a lot more time, but doing each individual line, just touching it with a thinner brush that is preloaded with wash, and then capillary action takes over and it washes down the gaps and the lines, rather than having to do where we've gone over everything there. With going over everything, it gives it a bit of a grimy look, so it doesn't look as though it's a flight suit that's just come straight out of the pack sort of thing. Right, put that back onto the stand. Because around the edge, I have to give it a bit of a wash just to make it look a bit rough and ready. And then finally a little bit of a wash around the edge all the way around. So that's how it starts to look. What you'll get is, as it dries out, it will get a lot lighter. We'll do the other part. Even coat all over. If you wanted it bright white, then doing the pin wash and then touching up any bits with the white afterwards, probably the best way to do that. But for a rebel terrorist one, it's not going to be nice. If it was a stormtrooper one where it all has to be nice and clean, and trying to make this as rough and as used as possible as it dries. Sorry, that's not in focus. Just around the edge. Missed a couple of bits. I can actually see under the camera a lot better than I can see with my own eyes. That's the first time I've used that metal metallic, and it's a bit darker than I normally go with, so I'm going to get the undiluted nullin, and just highlight a couple of the big bits a bit more. Just to make it stand out a bit. Like what it does, it thins it down rather than using water, where if you thin the oil down, the nullin down with just water, it can actually split, and it starts to go, it looks like it's curdling. Whereas when you use the Lamian medium, it's actually the medium that the ink's already held in. So what that does is when it spreads and falls into all the nooks and crannies, it allows it to happen a lot more, and it also stops the stain, as much staining. So you don't get, if you would do nulling straight onto black, the more Lamian media you put in, the less staining on the white you get, and the more that it falls into the crevices. Great for stormtroopers. If you gloss varnish stormtroopers and then use the Lamian, like 50/50 Lamian nulling oil, then it takes a lot less time to paint the white back up. So this part I'm going to cheat, because now we would normally leave it half an hour to an hour. So I've got one of these, and people that know me will know that this doesn't belong to me. So, sorry if you can't hear us over the noise, but quick dry with a hairdryer. The washes do tend to dry really quick like this. So, get your back to dry. So, the next part, I'll get quickly onto it, is a quick layering to get the colours back to the brightness. So, I'm using GW Troll Slayer for the orange. But I'm going to water this down quite considerably. You can use a proper palette for this. I just have thousands of card sleeves laid around, so it's a bit of a waste just to leave them and not actually use them for stuff like this on my desk, as you can see. So this is quite watered down, so we're not going for like a full coverage. We're trying to still get some of the dirt and the grime to show through, so try and get to bring up the colours again using the edge of the brush. Just gives you that little bit of extra control, so you're not dropping it down into the gaps and stuff like that. Yeah, Lee, for paint I'd tend to use water or flow medium now. Yeah, I always used to use water all the time. I've just got to the point now where using either the flow medium or distilled or purified water, it just makes it a lot, I don't know, more manageable. But Lamian medium is basically, it's paint without the paint, so it's what the pigment's held in. Don't be starting that one. I just want to do quick colour changes and stuff like that so people can see or can actually do it themselves. And it's a lot easier to explain than like this than sitting talking through to someone on Facebook of what to do and how to do it. There's a little bit of orange over. There you go. It doesn't feel as though you're putting any on when you're doing it like this, but a couple of coats like this can sometimes be better than a really thick coat. Or if you're wanting the dirty ground washed out look, it gives you a lot more control rather than just dropping the paint straight over your wash and stuff like that. This gives you the ability to layer it up a couple of times without losing all the grime. And then inside the window. Ooh. So, as you can see, I've splodged. That I can actually pull back by putting a little bit of white in there in a bit and giving it a bit of a clean. So whenever you make a mistake, and this is why you've got to be as careful as you can at times, you don't just have to put the white back in there, you've got to, as I'll show you, to get rid of the orange that I've put into there. So now that it goes bright white. The white back. So now I have to go back to the Agrax and drop some Agrax back over it. It's a lot easier to not make the mistake, but when you do, you just follow the process that you've done to get it back to where it was last time. And give it a quick blow dry. And that's the wash where I went over with the orange. So, after the red, going up to Evil Sun Scarlet, GW range again, so just a small amount, really thin again. bit of orange shone through the white at the top, so I'll quickly re-highlight up the top. The red's nearly dry already. Now, if you want, that is just the basics. You've done the primer, the base coat, a complete set of washes. You've then done the highlights on the orange and the red. What I do like to do on the outside, because obviously it wants to look as though it's rough and ready. I know a lot of people hate dry brushing and people who dry brush, but it gets the effect that I want, so I'm going to take 2 old brushes and pink post-it note. So Nikon compound dry brush, jab it into the brush, rub off as much on the pot as I can, and then just onto the paper. And then what I do is round the edge, give it a quick rub over so you get the metallics coming through the wash. It shows up a lot more where the wash has gone brown. And it just gives a bit of a, as if it's a metal dial cover. So you get the dirty looking metal around the edge. What you can also do is with a smaller dry brush or a GW base brush that's beyond its usefulness, do exactly the same, but then hit the outer parts of the metalwork, and it just makes the metalwork pop. So you get the idea of where to go and what to do, and you don't have to use these colours. You can use different colours, you can use different designs. I'm going to do a couple using my Imperial dials. I've done just quite a basic first order one, and then the metallics that I use, that is just a black primer with a heavy silver dry brush all over, and then 2 or 3 coats of pure Nuln oil, and it really does look like you've worn the metal through yourself. It just looks really cool. And then you can start adding the detail like reds and different coloured panels and stuff like that. But there are a couple that I've been practicing on. So that's the basic tile. If you want me to have a look at other things, as I say, I'm going to try an imperial one. If someone's got any ideas or what they would like to see on an imperial one, same for a scum one, then just give us a shout, put a message in there. Most of you know who I am anyway. Just drop us a message, ask us to try something. I'm not going to go down the route of what Rasta does. These are quick jobs. These are the stuff to make it look different. They're not masterpieces. Masterpieces like the dial covers that Rasta's been doing, the pilot ones, they take days to do, and yeah, I'd love to be able to do that, but unfortunately I'm not that good, and I just like the basic stuff so people get something different on the table. And it's just a little bit difference between the two, but it makes it stand out. If you were to do your own colours, like blue edging or stuff like that, you can match it into your ships. Loads of things to do. But there you go. Any more questions? We have a question, I believe that's Stuart. Yes, I've tried the colour shift. Yes, I broke it. Yes, I quit. I'd like to give it another go at some point, but I've given all of mine to Rasta for him to try, and hopefully Rasta will have some use for it, and we'll get something really nice out of him. By the way, I don't know if you know, Rasta has a Patreon on Rasta Mace Painting. I don't know if he's ever mentioned it on any of our channels, but it comes up now and again. So if you want to support an artist rather than someone who can just throw paint about, give him a shout. If you want to see someone throw paint about, I can help you with that. So, catch you for the next one. See you all soon.